JSpire Live.
Don't you wanna talk
And now,
about it? Let's talk
Miss
about
JSpire.
it. Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about it.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. I was about to say happy Friday because usually we come on Fridays, but this is a special Sunday edition of Fill Up Friday. So not actually a Friday, but because it was Valentine's Day on Friday, and I thought that many people may have plans, we decided to go live tonight on a Sunday night, which is awesome. It's amazing because, hey, Tia, because it gives us the opportunity to get motivated and get started with our like preparation for our work week. So I want to give a few more people some time to come on. So hopefully people will join us tonight. So Natia is joining us tonight. So welcome. If you happen to catch the replay, thank you so much. If you're watching the replay, be sure to still comment, say hello, let us know that you are here, and get involved in the conversation. So again, as you come in, drop some comments and give us some likes. Make sure that you share if you feel like this is good information. So again, if anyone is watching for the first time tonight, I just want to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. So we are JSpirations Live, and we are a motivational and encouraging or encouragement podcast. I also say that we are a motivational movement because we just don't do things on social media, but we do try to get out in the community and do some things as well. And we hope that we'll be able to do some of those things coming up shortly in the year. So what do we do on JSpirations Live? Well, we have real talk with real people, people that we can put our hands on, people that we can connect with, people that we can learn from, people that can pour into us, and people that we can pour into. We want to ensure that people know that you do not have to do life alone, right? You do not have to do life by yourself. If you're going through something, there's a 90% chance that someone else has gone through it, which means that they made it, which gives you the encouragement to let you know that you can make it as well. So on Friday, before I actually really realized, hey, it's Valentine's Day and people may be doing things, something I really wanted to talk about was being able to walk into your worth. And the reason that I wanted to talk about that is because of some of the interactions that I have had with people over the last 2 months. And really not just the 2 months, but really over the last few years, some of the interactions, conversations, some of the things that I have, that I've gone through with other people, or, as we're interacting, it doesn't matter what environment you're in, sometimes these things could happen. So some of the interactions that I've had over the last few weeks, and then, like I said, the last couple months, and even over the years, it's just interactions with people who sometimes give you pushback, who sometimes comes up against you with aggression. They come up with you with minimizing your ideas, with minimizing your thoughts, with minimizing your experiences, and then they don't want to support you. So they don't want to support you unless something that you're doing actually benefits them, right? Or they want to be close to you or next to you because of what you can do for them, because of what being connected to you, if maybe you could that connects them to something else or whatever the case may be in that way. So we're not just going to, hey, Paula, we're not just going to talk about the negativity or like the negative pieces of that. We're going to talk about what are some of those things that you can do to counteract that. What are some of the positive things that you can do to counteract those interactions and some of the things that come up against you, the pushback, whether it's at work or it's in friendship, relationship, whatever, or someone minimizing how you feel or what you're doing if you're working on a project and maybe it's not a big thing for them, right? But it's a big thing for you, or just that lack of support in general. So some of the things that I have experienced, like I said, the last couple of weeks is a lot of those things or a lot of those things. And so something that was really important to me in counteracting those things was self-talk. So we talk about affirmations a lot, right? And so we know affirmations are things that we say to ourselves, when we wake up in the morning or throughout the day to kind of get us going. But self-talk is something different because self-talk is not necessarily something that you just wake up in the morning doing, but self-talk is sometimes what you have to tell yourself while you're in that situation. Yes, it's close to an affirmation, but as we move forward, you'll understand that that's not necessarily what we're talking about. So some situations that I had the last couple weeks where we talked about on the show where you just want to say something, right? It's just like on the tip of your tongue to come out and just react to what that person or those group of people or that situation is doing to you with the pushback. But I had to give myself a lot of self-talk over the last couple weeks. Things that I wanted to say out loud, I had to say to myself, and then I actually had to respond to myself as well. Things like let them have the spot, let them have their say. They need the moment, right? And sometimes people just need the moment. Sometimes people just need to have their say. Sometimes you just have to give people the spot and say, you know what? You got it. Instead of going back and forth. And that's when you know that you're walking in your worth because you don't have to explain anything to anybody. You don't have to give them that pushback or that reaction or that response that they're looking for. You don't have to minimize them to like exalt yourself. And that's what I kept telling myself as well. I kept having to remind myself that I am an atmosphere changer. So if the person is giving me pushback or giving me negativity, I don't have to give them anything. I just have to sometimes sit in silence. Now, I've said before, some like my voice is even more powerful when I'm silent, right? Because when you're talking, everybody can hear it. You're going back and forth. There's all of this assertiveness and aggressiveness. But sometimes when you're just quiet and you get yourself in that quiet space, you're walking in your work in that moment. And honestly, sometimes you don't see it because let's just be honest. Sometimes it makes you feel like but I don't even want to say what I'm thinking, but like sometimes it just makes you feel like you're not taking up for yourself or making you feel like that person is putting you in your place. When actually you're walking in your own place by walking in your worth because you already know what you're capable of. You already know what your skill set is. You already know what you can do. So why do we go back and forth with fools? Right? Why do we argue back and forth trying to let someone know what we know and what we can do? Walking in your worth is just making sure that you know what you're capable of. And when you're finished doing what you're doing, that person will be able to see it. And all you would have done is just walked in your worth, right? You didn't have to minimize them. You didn't have to exalt yourself. You just had to do what you were supposed to do. So another thing that I had to tell myself a couple of weeks ago and over the last couple of weeks is it's not worth it. They are trying to figure out their worth and I need to walk in mine. Everybody doesn't get to the finish line at the same time. As a matter of fact, I saw a t-shirt last week that said there is not a finish line. And I looked at that t-shirt and I was like, what does that really mean? And I was like, should I buy that t-shirt? But like, what does it really mean? And what it means is that there is not a stopping place. Like, we don't have to get to a certain place and say, I'm finished and I'm done and I'm stopping right here. There is not a finish line. You keep going and going and going, because God's gonna, as long as He's giving it to you, it's gonna work out. As long as He's giving you the idea, it's gonna be fulfilled. Sometimes people are gonna try to take the idea and make it seem like it's theirs. And you know what? That's okay too. Let them have it. Maybe they need that spot. Maybe they need you just to let them have it so their confidence can be built, right? So they can, again, find out what their worth is. You already know. So sometimes when you already know, you just have to sit still. You have to stay still. You have to be quiet, and you have to do you. And I'll be honest, that was hard for me. But again, the self-talk came in, and I just kept telling myself, it's okay. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to go back and forth. You don't have to be assertive. You don't have to be aggressive. Just let them have it. The other side of me was saying, why should I let them have it? Why shouldn't I say something? Why shouldn't I do something, right? Why shouldn't I exert myself? Why shouldn't I exalt myself? Why shouldn't I let myself shine? Well, it's because I'm already shining, right? And I don't have to do any more than just be in the room. I don't have to do any more than just be in the place. My presence is enough, right? Because if I'm walking in who and what God has called me to be, just being in the spot is enough. He's going to allow me to shine. He's going to allow me to come up, right? He's going to allow me to be successful. I don't have to beat anybody down to be successful. I don't have to push them out the way. I don't have to try to outshine them. I just have to be in the space and just be. Right? We talked about earlier in the year, turn the light on. All I have to do is walk in the room, right, with my high beams on, and just sit down and just be in the space. And I had to realize that that's why sometimes people push back against me so much. That's why people are pushing back on you so much, because they're trying to figure out, why does the atmosphere change when that person walks in the room? Why do people flock to this person? I had someone ask me before, why does everybody like you? And I was looking like, that's a weird question. And at first I thought I had to answer it, but I didn't even have to, because that was something that that person was struggling with. And my answer wasn't going to help them at all. My answer wasn't going to help them. So I just didn't even answer the question. We just have to walk in who we are called to be. We have to walk in our worth. And even when nobody else sees it, even when everybody else pushes back, even when everybody else tries to get aggressive with you or assertive with you, or minimize your ideas, minimize your projects, minimize what you're doing, or they don't want to support you, don't worry about it. Just keep walking in your worth. Just keep telling yourself that it's not worth it. They're trying to figure out their worth, and I just need to walk in mine. Right. And the thing about it is, they don't even see it now. They see you as the enemy. Right. And it's because they're not genuine. They may be jealous because they're just trying to figure out. But you walking in your light and you being who you are, it's encouraging them, even though they may not see it. It's encouraging them, even though you may not want to encourage them, but it's encouraging them. When we walk in who we are and we shine our light and we allow people to see God in us, and we allow people just to see that just being ourselves, that's why we're making it. It encourages people, right? It allows them to build their confidence. Hopefully, it allows them to see their worth and to see their value. So that's what I encourage you to do tonight as you start your work week tomorrow, or whatever you're doing. You could be volunteering, you could be participating in a project somewhere, you could be going to work, or even just in your own home. Walk in your value. No one else may not see you the way that you see you, but that's okay. Just walk in your value. Don't have back and forth conversations, and it's hard for me. But don't have back and forth conversations and bicker and go back and forth and tell your side of the story. Man, I'm learning that my side of the story, it's not even important to tell. I spent a lot of my life wanting to tell my side of the story. Like I had to tell it. I had to get the last word. I had to like exalt myself or exert myself into certain situations because I needed people to know you're not going to punk me, right? Like you're not going to make me stop talking. You're not going to make me be quiet. But over the last couple years, and even though it's hard, that's the transparency part because I always want to say something, right? But I'm learning at certain times not to say anything. Is it hard? Let me raise my hand and say, absolutely, it is. But is it worth it? Yeah, 95% of the time, it is worth it. It is worth just not saying something, especially in situations, serious situations where it's just like, um, increase or push the negativity, right? Or it's gonna, somebody else is gonna be uncomfortable because they're in the room with you as well. Some things you just let it go, just because it's not worth it. But I want to encourage you to walk in your worth. Whatever project you're working on, whatever you're doing, just keep walking in your worth. Have we talked about this before on JSpirations Live? Yes, we have. But sometimes we have to come back to it. And sometimes I come back to it just based on the experiences that I'm in at that moment. I'm telling you, from the beginning of the year, when I said turn on the lights, and then when I came back and we had Philip Friday and I said be an atmosphere changer, you guys don't understand the amount of things that have pushed back on me. You don't understand the amount of things or the amount of people who have come at me for certain things when I thought I was doing my best, when I thought I was doing something that was going to benefit everybody, right? When I thought that perhaps I was being a team player, right? And then here comes things pushing up against me, having to remind myself of who I am. I was at a game a couple weeks ago, and it was the night after I had said I'm an atmosphere changer, right? That we needed to be an atmosphere changer. And then there was a situation, and I was like, wait a minute, what they say? And then I had something that I listened, go back to being transparent, that I just had to say, right? That I just I couldn't let it go. And Natia was at the game with me, and I had to look over her and say, I had to remind myself that I'm supposed to be an atmosphere changer, right? But I allowed that situation to push me to be like, wait a minute, you need to say something. And then I had to remind myself that yeah, we all fall short, but we also have to be accountable. So I have to be accountable for what I say and then what I do, right? Because I have to know my worth. I have to know like what my value is. And I have to figure out like think some things just aren't worth it, right? Because sometimes that other person or those other people, they just need to be in the spotlight. They need their voice to be heard. And again, like I said, but I'm realizing, and I hope you do too, that even in my silence, even in your silence, our voices are powerful. Because sometimes we're in the room and people want us to say something so bad, but sometimes it's not our place and sometimes it's not the time. And so we have to be able to learn when are we supposed to speak out, right? When are we supposed to speak up, or are we just supposed to sit in silence? Sitting in silence is hard. Sitting in silence with our own thoughts are hard. Sitting in silence with our own feelings are hard. Sitting in silence when people are verbally pushing back on you, right? And saying things that maybe aren't true, right? Or saying things that may hurt your feelings, or saying things that you feel like may be devaluing you. right? Like it's taking away the value of what you do or what you contribute, but that's okay. Just keep contributing, but have boundaries. And that's something that I learned last week as well, that as much as I love people, that as much as I want to help, as much as I want to do, and as much as I want to be, but I still have to have boundaries. And so, what I've asked the Lord to do for me and to help me to do over the last couple days is to search my heart, right? And Lord, whatever there is that's in my heart, whatever it is that I'm doing or I'm saying that's not of you, that's not right, don't just take it out of my heart. Don't just take it away from me, but to make me aware of it, right? Because I want to be aware of it so it's not something that I just keep doing over and over again. Because sometimes I do. Sometimes I do things over and over again, or sometimes I try to say, well, this happened because I felt like this because that person did this, or I felt like this because I was in this space. But I've started to really ask the Lord, no, Lord, allow me to search myself and allow me to see myself. Right? I do. I want to walk in my value. I want to be all that you want me to be, right? I want to be obedient to you. I want to be all those things, but I want you. So in order to be all those things, I have to see myself as well. I just can't see other people all the time. I have to see myself. And so I'm asking God to surround me with people who love me, to surround me with people who will support me, to surround me with people who are genuine, and then to make sure that all of those things are in my heart, because there's somebody else that's asking the Lord to surround them with people that's genuine, right? To surround them with people that's going to support them. And if I'm that person, right, I want to be that person that they can surround themselves with, right? And so I want to be surrounded by those things. And then I want to be the person that when they're asking God to put certain people in their lives, that is me, that He's able to send as well. And I was asking him about that yesterday. Lord, what changes do I need to make? Lord, what do I need to do differently? What do I need to do better? And so that's all part of all the things. That's all part of turning on the lights. And those all the things of being an atmosphere changer, right? That's part of walking in your worth. So I just encourage you to ask God to do those things for you, right? Friday was Valentine's Day, and it was all about, like love and like gifts and all those things. And yeah, that's for people that's like, relationships and things like that. We give things to our kids, to our parents, all those things. But let's start to make that an everyday occurrence where it's not just something that we do on holidays. It's not just something that we feel on holidays, but there's somebody out there that needs you to walk in your worth so that they can see you and they can walk in theirs. So be that person that will be able to surround people with all of the genuine love and all of the support, right? So that they can see you and they can see God in you and they can begin to see God in them, in themselves, and they will be able to know what they're worthy of and who they are. So let me go back to some of the comments real quick. Miss Deborah, hey, Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah said, yes, be the greatest, real as you. We are uniquely made. Let God make your adjustments, not any person, and build spiritual guidance when in doubt. Said, thank you for the commitment of what your calling means for others. Making a difference isn't easy labor. It is not. And I have to think about sometimes, I'll often say, like, people don't want to hear me talk. Um, some people do, some people don't. But the people who want to hear me, what God gives me to say, it's for me and it's for them. JSpirations Live or any other podcast, it isn't for everybody. It's for a certain audience. It's for people that God sends you, right? For God sends you guys me, and He sends me to you guys, right? So it's like there's a need and there's a reciprocal, right? Um, some people come on, they stay on for a couple minutes and they go off. That's it's maybe not for them. Some people come on and they stay the entire time because what I'm sharing is something that they need. Some people come on. Miss Deborah doesn't know this, but oftentimes when she comes on and she puts a comment in, I'm looking at that like, yeah, I needed to hear that. Or she comes on something that I post during the week and she'll say something and I'll be like, man, like Miss Deborah probably thought that she needed what I posted and maybe she did, but I needed that encouragement or that feedback that she posted on this, that she commented on the post that I did earlier. So it's like we all have a need. And when we allow God to surround us with people that are genuine and people that love us, our gifts and what we have in us, it's not for us, it's for other people. And that's why sometimes we become friends with people that we never thought we would be friends with. We'd be like, we don't even mix, like that's not really, I can't believe that we're friends, or maybe that's not my person, but it's somebody that you needed, right? That God connected you with because you need what they have and they need what you have. And so the things that we have is not just for us, but it's for people that God connects us. And there was, there's a lot of people in my life, like earlier today, I sent Paula something and it said something like, people go from being co-workers to work besties to being friends, or to being family forever, right? And when I went to that job 16 years ago, I didn't go there to meet anybody, to be anybody's friend. Absolutely not. I went there to work and that was it. I didn't need any new friends. I didn't need any new besties, right? I already had them. But I went there and God gave me a couple of really good friends, right? And even though when we started separating from the job, the relationships were so strong that we were not just friends anymore, we were family. And so even though they left, I don't know, 11 years ago, 10 years ago, to this day, we're still connected. And then with being family with them, God gave other connections where they had branched off, right? And so you start thinking like, what would I be doing if I didn't have these people in my life? God already knows what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. He gives us free will and he gives us choice, but he starts to put people in our lives that we need, right? That's going to bring us something that they have. And then we're going to be able to get, like, I never thought that I could have these friendships with people outside of my friends that I grew up with. Right? Like you never would have told me that, but they have brought value to my life, right? My son's best friend's parents, most of them are younger than me. And I'd be thinking they like kids. I can't hang out with them, right? But they have become some of my closest friends, right? We become family. And I'm always thinking, what would I do without them? Right? Like we're not just like helping each other like with kids and things like that, because anybody can do that. You can carpool with anybody, right? As long as you know them well enough, you trust them, you've seen them enough, they can take your kid to school, or they can take your kid to like a athletic practice. But I'm talking when he gives them to you where it becomes more than that. Those things are blessings, and those people know your worth, and it makes it easy for you to walk in your worth when you allow God to surround you with people who value you, right? And so it makes it easier to do that. And so that's why we want to ask God. I'm asking God all the time to tell me who I need to be connected to, how I need to be connected to them, and what rooms I need to be in, and when I don't need to be in rooms, right? Or when I need to be having conversations with certain people, and then when I don't need to be having conversations, because everything's not for everybody. And that's how you know that you're walking in your worth, because you're listening, right? To be able to hear from God, to know your worth, to know when to be quiet, to know when to speak out, to know when to participate, to know when to go, to know when not to go, to know who to ask for help, to know who to ask for advice, right? Those are all the things. And so I started thinking last week, I was like, God, like, why am I experiencing these things? Like, God, I'm a good person. I've made some, not so good choices. I've made some, bad choices. But, like, God, I love you. I'm a good person. Like, why do people, like, in some of these situations, like, why do people push back on me? Or why do people treat me a certain way? Or why do people feel like it's easy to say certain things to me when we're in a room full of people and they'll say it to me and not say it to them, right? And then it's like, because they know that they're not going to get the same reaction from you that they would get from somebody else. And that's because, thank God, I've been doing so much better walking in his obedience, being able to allow him to tame my tongue, to be able to tame my thoughts, right? To be able to just be quiet. Even when Joe Shalom wants to talk, even when Joe Shalom wants to say something, even when Joe Shalom wants to get back, even when Joe Shalom says, I can say something and it will hurt your feelings. But why? What is that going to do for me? What benefits do I really get from saying something back and saying something that may hurt somebody's feelings, or saying something that's going to cause an argument? For what? I already know. I'm supposed to be sure. I'm supposed to be confident in who I am and what I'm doing. So all I'm saying is know your capacity, walk in your worth, turn the lights on when you walk into the dark space, sit in silence, even when you don't want to, and just be the light. That's it. That's the discussion. That's the talk. That's the post. That's the Sunday word. Like, that's what it is. When I had my radio show, we used to have a segment called Sunday Dinner. And so this is Sunday dinner, y'all. Like, I know you've already had your dinner, your physical dinner, your food, your vittles, but this is Sunday dinner. And I hope that this gets you prepared for your work week. And not just your work week, but that it gets you prepared for life, that it starts to really seep down into your heart, and that you are able to pull from it as you move through any situation. Natia says sitting in silence can be loud if you listen. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it can be loud. Like, if you don't say anything, you not saying anything in a situation where someone's trying to be assertive or argue or be aggressive or push back or down talk you, it speaks volumes without you even saying a word. So absolutely. And I'm learning that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard, but I am learning that God gave me that a couple years ago. Let my voice is powerful even when I am silent. Paula says, continue to do you and be obedient to the will of God. Because Paula's been with me for a long time. So Paula knows that I love to say something back. I love it. But that's been something that I've asked God over the last couple years to really just help me with. So I don't want to do it anymore. Um, and I learned the other day that I really can sit in silence. And I learned the other day that self-talk is powerful. And I learned the other day that walking in my worth is where it is. Nobody else may not see it. Can't see when you wear somebody else's glasses. So I'm gonna continue to wear my own. I'm gonna continue to see through my own. And what's so I'm not even sure what word I want to use, but like yesterday my glasses broke. And I don't even know how they broke. I had put them in the glasses holder, and I got in the car and I opened the glass holder and I took them out and the arm fell off. And I said, hmm, how did that happen? We're not broke when I put them up there. They didn't appear loose when I put them up there. And all this is coming back to me now, right? Because God just be dropping things. But I was like, so now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it's time for new glasses. It's time for me to be able to, in the natural, to see differently and to see better. I need some new glasses. And it's time for me in the spiritual to see myself and to see things in a different way as well. So yesterday I couldn't understand why those glasses broke. But now sitting here talking to you guys, I understand why the glasses broke. Something so simple as the arm on my glasses breaking, because I need those glasses to see. But they broke. And so now what? What do I do? Do I just walk around not with broken glasses? No, because I don't have to, because I have the means, thank God, to get new glasses. Do I walk around without the glasses and not be able to see, right? And things are blurry and I don't know where I'm going and things are foggy? What do I do? What do we do when the glasses break? What do we do when our vision shifts? What do we do when our vision is blurry, our vision is foggy? What do we do? Do we just walk around just all out of sorts? Or do we sit down for a second and get ourselves together and figure out what to do? Because we need to move around. Do we just move around in the dark? No, we don't give the dark the opportunity to have any space in our lives. We turn the lights on. So we get new glasses so that we can see clearly. It's been raining all weekend. It's been blurry outside. It's been foggy outside. What's the rule? When it's raining, your lights should be on. The windshield wipers should be on because it's raining. So as we're walking through life and things happen, situations come up, that rain comes, what do? We turn the lights on and we walk in our worth. We don't allow anyone or anything to change the vision that God has given us. We don't allow anything or anyone to change our vision, to change our direction. We go in the way that God has told us to go. So tonight, walk in your worth. Go in the direction that God has told you to go. He's not going to steer us wrong. Someone pushes up against your idea or talks down to you, let them have it. Let them have that spot in that moment, because that spot doesn't belong to you. They have stopped at the finish line, but there is no finish line. You keep going. They need the moment. Let them have it. Maybe they're still trying to figure out their worth. And thankfully, you've already gotten there to where you know what your worth is. Walk in it. Walk in it. Walk in it. Walk in it. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for sharing some of your Sunday night with me. I know people are getting ready for work, but I hope that this is a timely word for you, a timely piece of encouragement for you that's going to start your week out in a positive light. And that's going to carry you not only through the work week, but again, that it's going to be, it's down in your heart and you're going to be able to push through with it. Amber, I love you too. And you know what? I just appreciate you guys, because I've been a little stagnant in some of the things I've been doing for JSpirations. Yeah, I'm coming on for Philip Friday and we're doing these things, but it's so much more for me to do. Sometimes I get really stagnated or stagnant in what I'm doing. And I see what Amber's doing and I'm like, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. I have to get out there. And so I love celebrating her. And she loves celebrating me. And so oftentimes she'll text me and just say, okay, what you doing? Well, well, when are you going to do something? What you got going on? And so she always holds me accountable, and I appreciate that, right? So for all the people that are pushing back on me in some things, or have lack of support, right? Or minimizing things, or being assertive, for every person that's doing that, or every entity that's doing that, God has sent me 2, 3, 4, 5 people that are doing the opposite, right? People who know their worth, right? People who don't have to be in the spotlight, people that don't have to be in that moment by themselves, that we've been able to share the spotlight, that we've been able to share moments together, right? And they've been able to tell me when I'm right, been able to tell me when I'm wrong, right? Be able to encourage me when I'm not doing anything, encourage me when I am doing something. And so those are the type of people that you want to ask God to put in your circle, not in your corner, but in your circle, right? We don't want people in all these parts of the corner where we can't get to them and they can't get to us. We want people to be in our circle. There's many a time where I need somebody to rub my back, where I need somebody to whisper in my ear, girl, what you doing? Or why aren't you doing anything? Right? Where I need the phone call, or I need the text, or I need the email, or I need the card, right? Or I need the small gift, or I need the knock at the door, right? I need those things. And I thank God that my circle is so connected that even when the friendship or the relationship comes from different parts, when I wasn't feeling well, Natia was there, and then Nicole was there, but then I wasn't feeling well, and they were like, okay, well, we need to call Paula. And so it was like they, even though they're my friends and I've met them in different parts of my life, because of the genuine, like they're so genuine, and because of our relationships and the love and support that we have of each other, like when something happens, they don't just think, they think of who else do we need to call, what else do we need to do, because there's connections there, right, that brings forth that support. And so I thank God for that. And I asking God to like separate from like the folks that aren't supposed to be there, not in a bad way. We don't need to not like each other or not be friends or not be cool. But I don't mind having a small circle, because I know that my circle is strong and that my circle strengthens me. And it's not about what I can do for them, but it's about what can we do for each other, and how can we all make it regardless of what we're doing as a group, right? So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Have an amazing week. Some people may be off tomorrow. It is a holiday. Get some rest, do some self-care, do some self-talk. Many people will say, talk to yourself, but don't answer. I say, do what you need to do. Like I said, last week I talked to myself. I answered the question. I answered. I did all I need to do with the self-talk to be able to sit in silence and just to remember who I am, who God is in me, who God is to me, right? And because I have a relationship with him, I was able to make it through. And then to be able to get a timely word for you guys or someone else that may watch it on the replay. But it was definitely a timely word for me. So I love you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have an amazing week. Share this video if it blessed you. Invite somebody to come out next Friday for Fill Up Friday Live. Invite somebody to come on and watch with us. Not sure what the topic will be, but you know God's gonna give me something. And if you have a topic, hit me up in my inbox or my text, or call me. You know, if you have my number, email me JSpirations at gmail.com. But just be here Friday night. It's going to be a timely word of encouragement, because God always gives me something to share. So I love you guys. Practice self-care. If you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. Walk in your worth this week. And as always, be JSpire.